it's so much of digital infrastructure is tied to real estate that it's hard to get away from the idea that the physical presence is. You look at one of the 5 biggest players in the world has realty in its name, and you go down to the next tier or two, dozens of companies with real estate or realty in this overall approach. So it does make sense that that's going to be super important. And even from someone that's in an AE role, how do you do tours if you're not physically there?
That's right. Exactly.
Client wants to come visit the facility. They're touring your data center and 3 or 4 others they've flown in for a day or two. And if you're not physically there to give them the tour, how does the deal progress?
That's right. And I'm going to tell you something also from me as CEO of, multiple data center companies. There's an unfairness. There's a fairness issue or unfairness issue, whichever way you want to. But I have data center technicians that have to be there 24/7. They had to come in during the pandemic. They had to be there in person. Certainly they had to wear gloves and masks, but they had to be there physically. And for me, at this point, when there's no pandemic, to be able to say, well, there's haves and have-nots in my company where certain people can have to be there 24/7 at the facility, keeping the facility going, where some people can work from wherever they are if they're within driving range of my offices, right? I think there's a fairness issue as well, and as CEO, I have to make sure that the culture is uniform across my company. I can't have a culture for the marketing team and a culture for the sales team and a different culture for the development team and a different culture for the backbone of my company, which are my data center operators, which are, the guys that are racking and stacking the servers, the guys that are maintaining the generators and making sure that that all the electrical sophisticated electrical machinery is functioning, and so on and so forth, right? So I think there's a fairness issue, aside from, look, customer want to see it, want to feel it, want to witness it, right? And it is just awesome for you to be able to kind of walk a customer through a facility and then look at the expression in their faces when their jaws drop and see the amount of technology that is running in those data centers. Everything is high tech, from the generators to the controls to the cabling to the wiring. Everything is engineered with precision and sophistication. It's awe-inspiring, and then I think it's beneficial. So
yeah. Even pre-pandemic, there was this palpable of how do you avoid an us versus them with remote first? Because even leading into the pandemic, there was a lot of talent wars going on in the late 2010s. So yeah, these aren't new issues.
Yeah,
they just got buzzed.
I would say we just got to keep an open mind and be willing to compromise. It's not my way or the highway on both sides, and we got to come to a happy medium. And I think that's what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years because everybody's seeing the benefits. So, I know Amazon just issued a mandate of 5 days a week. We'll see where that goes. That'll be a bellwether for the industry, but we'll see. But that's kind of like the way that I like to run things is in a pragmatic way where we come to a happy medium, where the needs of the company are met, the culture stays intact, but also the needs of the employees are also met.